Meet Bunny, a strange gremlin with a peculiar series of afflictions. She stumbles through life, a world where words often betray her, leaving her locked in a constant struggle to communicate. She cannot speak well, and yet she keeps stumbling through, but there's more. Bunny carries a secret, one so bizarre, so strange, that even the most open-minded of minds would recoil in disbelief. She claims to be a monster fucker, a label she wears proudly in the Twilight Zone.
Hello. Oh my god. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Bunny or GunBunny, and this is my journey through guns and cosplay. Now today's video is another video in my Gothic gun series. And no, I do not have a historical set yet, so we will just keep using this room in my house as it is just, you know, it's giving the right vibes for what we need. Let me move my computer a little bit closer. There we go. And today we're going to be talking about one of my other favorite books, Frankenstein. Now, I love this story for so many reasons, and I also really like the new adaptation of it. I recently just watched it, and I am so fucking in love. And yeah, if you haven't seen my other Gothic Guns videos, there is a, what is up with this sleeve? There we go. There is a playlist called Gothic Guns. We have a video on Silver Bullets, we have two on Dracula, and yeah, maybe I'll have some others coming up, maybe like, I don't know, the Wolfman or the Mummy. Even though they're not technically Gothic guns, they are kind of more like classic monster movies. I mean, the Wolfman I guess is Gothic, but the Mummy, it takes place in, you know, a lot later. But maybe I'll just do that because it's a classic monster movie. And it'll give me an excuse to cosplay. But I may take a break from Gothic Guns for a bit. Who knows? If you guys really like this series, I will probably continue it, but I might not continue it like posting it in a row like this as I am, because this is just becoming kind of a long series and I might want to take a break to do something else for a little bit. But bring back Gothic Guns if you guys really like it. We'll see how I feel and how I'm inspired, and I don't know. Right now it's winter, and so I'm feeling like the Gothicness is it's coming very naturally to me, because winter is full of horrors and is just very Gothic in nature. Everything is dead and blanketed in this kind of suppressing snow of light. And so, yeah. But without further ado, let's talk about the guns of Frankenstein. When I started my channel, I decided that I was not going to monetize through YouTube, and I wasn't going to do sponsorships unless like Uncrustables wants to sponsor me. So I decided to basically be crowdfunded. The way that you can support me is through my Patreon, which is the link below. The paid tier starts at $5, and then there are many levels with different perks from there. So please go check it out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, you can also support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing my videos, checking your feed every Monday and every Thursday for my new videos, because that's when they come out, and YouTube's algorithm is a little bit of a bitch sometimes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video and my channel in general. Bye. So Frankenstein, or A Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley, was written in the early 19th century, and it's all set in the end of the 18th century, at the beginning of the 19th century, the heyday of the flintlock musket. Unsurprisingly, black powder firearms show up ubiquitously and are treated casually, a tool found everywhere from remote dwellings to Arctic explorers kit, which is important if you know this story that we are discussing. However, they do play a scant role in the novel itself. Well, a father does shoot the creature, mistakenly thinking that he is protecting his daughter, demonstrating that the creature can be hurt, and most of his interactions with humans will take that form, which is kind of a large theme throughout the story, creating what is the creature's whole psyche. By the way, yes, there are fucking spoilers in this. I'm sorry. And I refuse to call the creature Frankenstein's monster, or Frankenstein, because Frankenstein was the doctor and the monster was Frankenstein. And also, Frankenstein is the first iteration of MPreg in modern literature, and fight me on that. Yes, I've read too much fan fiction. You can deal with it. What, you're looking at me and think I don't read smut? Come on. I grew up on Tumblr. Like, look at me. Anyway, back to the story. Yes, this series is a whole totally about me being a monster fucker. Are you surprised? I'm dressed as the Bride of Frankenstein right now. I mean, I'm not, but I just realized I kind of look like that. This was just the outfit I picked out for today. My subconscious is screaming at me. For the most part, the novel is not concerned with fighting monsters, but with the philosophical implications of the creature. Without detailed depictions to go on, the understanding of guns of that era is going to rely heavily on speculation. In this era, mass production of anything was far less common, but the firearms still are often described by patterns, especially those that were purchased in quantity for military use. And early firearms were one of the earliest drivers of repeatability in industry, and one of the first successful examples of the use of interchangeable parts to simplify maintenance. Firearms are a huge driver of the Industrial Revolution in general, and I have a whole rant about this because I fucking know so much about the Industrial Revolution, and firearms are a huge part of that. Maybe I'll talk about this. I'm a huge nerd about all of this. This is my journey because I'm a nerd about it and I want to talk about it, so you guys get to deal with it. Anyway, at the time of writing, flintlocks were the main form of firearms in use, and the vast majority of those would be muzzle-loading, smoothbore muskets, though rifles were increasing in prominence as their use in the American Revolution and later Napoleonic War had demonstrated that the range and accuracy of rifles could be employed to great advantage, despite the limitations of faster fouling and slower loading. Most direct adaptations of Frankenstein itself tend to follow the timing of the novel, which means that while we see the occasional musket or rifle, particularly in the hands of an angry mob in the 1931 movie, the focus is on other aspects, though many of the later adaptations of Frankenstein as a horror/monster villain do put some increased weight on action and conventional weapons. We even get in the 2025 movie a remarkably fantasy gun, a multi-barrel blunderbuss, which I want so badly. Yes, it's a super fantasy gun, but look, if I can make that or get someone to make that for me, that would be dreams come true for me. Come on, like, it's too perfect. Well, it looks really cool and is very clearly not a real gun. For starters, that is simply too much barrel to be practical. This would be a 30 to 50 pound gun, like, you know, BAR, hold my fucking beer. Look at this thing. It's not something that someone could lean over the side of the ship and fire like our captain does in the movie. And in any case, would be both cheaper and more convenient to just have 4 single shot guns than one contraption with 4 barrels in any environment where maintenance might be a challenge, such as an Arctic exhibition. We also see that the captain is rotating the whole barrel assembly, which there are clearly 4 distinct hammers anyway, so there's no reason for the added weight and complexity of a rotating mechanism. Like, there's no reason for it to all be just kind of chunked together into one gun. This is giving me hard TP-83 vibes. If you know some of my original videos about space guns, go check that out. And you know my weird love of stupid guns that are just kind of stuck together with multiple barrels for no reason. Rule of cool is definitely carrying this gun, and it is definitely fucking cool aside from the blunderbuss, and it's definitely fucking cool in my opinion. Aside from the blunderbuss, though, the closest thing to this would have actually been, aside from a blunderbuss though, the closest thing to this that would have actually fit in the original novel might have been a knock volley gun, a multi-barrel smoothbore designed for ship-to-ship combat. Now, again, they are on an Arctic vessel in the ship, so it would make sense that they would use a gun designed for ship-to-ship combat. Since the weight and recoil made them very difficult to use, they were never common weapons. Again, which is where our analysis with this fake multi-barrel blunderbuss, it would be really hard to use because it's heavy and the recoil, and the most realistic version of this that did exist had that same problem. The rotating mechanism seems to be similar to that of the double-barrel rifle made for Timothy Murphy, where the top barrel can be fired and then the barrel's rotated and the and the barrels would be rotated and the pan reprimed to provide a swift follow-up shot. As the movie is ostensibly updated to 1857, percussion guns replace flintlocks for the most part, with what look to be rifled muskets in the hands of Arctic expeditionists, Percussion guns replace flintlocks for the most part, with what looks to be rifled muskets in the hands of the Arctic expeditioners, as well as the multi-blunderbuss fantasy gun we talked about. And the Colt 1851 Navy makes an appearance in the hands of Victor Frankenstein, who uses it to shoot his brother's fiancée. You know, that part. The guns in this movie are not as important as a lot of the other symbolism in this movie, but I do think that it is really interesting how they went about the use of guns and, you know, that they had them at all. I mean, I think the part where he uses it to shoot his brother's fiancée is actually pretty important to the plot. But yeah, I'm not gonna go into a whole deep dive of all the symbolism and everything in this movie, even though I could, because this is about the guns. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I certainly did, and look forward to more videos from my channel. And if you want more Gothic guns, please check out the Gothic Guns playlist. All right, bye!